Namaskara everyone. Welcome. Um, Warm welcome and slightly cold in today. I'm Adil, part of the this is um, the third of the series of four webinars that we college has been anchoring this month. The last weekend we had two webinars connecting to self-land and community and let us localize. If any of you are interested in um, having access to those webinars, you can share that with you via mail. Just let us know. Um, and yeah, so today's webinar is about ecological living in urban areas. Okay, just a quick tech check and a couple of housekeeping rules. If is one, is it possible for some of you to be on video? I know it's a nice way to be cozy in bed. Probably not a lot of you want to present yourself, but if it's possible, it would really help us because as facilitators, we also depend on, especially junior facilitators, we sort of depend on that face-to-face interaction. So if it's possible, please be on video. Second, can we just do a quick tech check as to am I audible? Can I get a thumbs up? Can you just put it in chat?
Your voice is not somehow clear, Arun.
Voice is not very clear, is it?
Yes.
Okay, voice is not clear. Okay, I'll then figure out maybe a better place where I can be. Um, maybe then Ichita, you can start with.
Maybe you need to come a little in front, Adil, then we can hear you.
I'll have to gobble up the laptop, but yes. Yeah, I'm Adil. I've been part of the movie team for the past decade. Uh, Worked in various capacities. And yeah, I think today's session will be co-anchored by Ishita and me. And I would like to hand it over to Ishita to introduce herself. Hello.
Yes, Adil. It was not clear. It was not very clear. I don't know whether the others are able to hear.
I'll figure out a different place where I can be.
Okay.
Maybe the space. What I'll ask you is request you to introduce yourself and then take over.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay. I can do that. I can do that.
All right. Thank you.
So, Namaskara. Good morning, everybody. I am Ishita. I am part of Bhumi College currently, but I joined the trust many, many years back when we started with the school, that is Prakriya Greek Wisdom School. And I think it's been a journey of unlearning, a lot of learning, a lot of co-holding, a lot of meeting people from different spaces, from different areas, from different people who have very varied interests, who have actually come to this field of education, sustainability. That's what we look at. So it's been a very interesting journey for me. And I think I joined Prakriya school many years back, which was around 2000. Actually, my kid joined because the school had just started and we were looking for a school for my son. And that is how I got introduced to KNA Foundation, the trust, and the school, which was even then looking at the principles of nature and things like that. So that is how my journey began with, and currently I'm with Bhumi College. So I think I'll just go ahead with a little bit about the trust and what we do. So KNA Foundation for Education is the trust under which comes Bhumi College, Bhumi Network, and Prakriya Green Wisdom School. So it was started in the year 2008, and That was to create spaces and include individuals and groups to move towards a more ecologically wise living. Because I think the person who started Sita, she wanted really to create spaces for people who could look at. So first the school started, and then later on we started with Bhumi College, as I said, in 2008, Bhumi College and Bhumi Network, because she also felt the need that we needed spaces where we'll have young adults and adults coming in who would want to look at sustainability, education, and live a more ecologically wise life. So Bhumi Network actually runs these 3 spaces. So one is in Gumlapuram, which is about from the city here, from the Bangalore city, it's about an hour and a half's drive. It is in Tamil Nadu. It's a farm which is run, it's an organic farm. So it started out being as a training center for people rural in and around that space. But now it has become more of a space where we hold programs for like eco retreats and things like that. Then we have another similar space which is in Tiruvannamalai. So that is again another organic farm which is run by KNA. And it is absolutely an arid land. Anybody who knows the landscape there, it's absolutely an arid land. So it has been our endeavor to see what are the things that can be grown there, because water is an issue in that part of their land, and to see how we can actually have rain-fed crops and things like that. So millets and a lot of turmeric and all those things are grown there. We also work with women self-help group there. So that is another thing that we do. And we are trying to see how we can make products which can be sold and things like that. So that is another thing that we do. The other part is Sharavati. Sharavati is another area which is, we have we call it the ashram. So that is run like an ashram, and we have some programs which are held there. So it's like absolutely in the heart of the Western Ghats. So it's a biodiversity hotspot, and we're just trying to keep the place as it is and let the forest take over. We have done some bit of planting, but very little. And we believe that a lot of people need to keep going to spaces like that, because when you go there, you see the beauty, you see like you're in awe of nature, and that's when you would actually look at saying that, okay, then what is it that I can do for the nature to be and continue to be like that. So that is another space. And of course, Bhumi College focuses more on education, because since we've been running the school for so many years, there are a lot of processes, practices which we have put in place, keeping the nature's principles in mind. So Bhumi College is again a space which has been created to bring awareness and sensitivity towards issues related to education and sustainability. So we offer short programs. One such is what you are part of, and we are going to tell you more about this later. So we offer short programs, we host conferences, we do weekend programs like how we are doing now. We also run a flagship program, which is our fellowship program, which is a 6-month fellowship. It is on education, holistic education, and sustainability. And these are things which we've been doing for a while now. And it's an alternative path, and it seems like there are people today who are interested in looking at alternatives. So they are the people who come to a college like ours, because and they can explore what are the things that they want to do as they take their life forward. Yeah, so that's a little bit about Bhumi. And any of you want to know more about Bhumi, maybe you can visit our website. Maybe you all have already. Yeah. So once more, a warm welcome. And let's see how we can take this forward. Adil, are you there?
Just trying to figure out an alternative audio. Am I audible?
Yes, it's much clearer now.
Maybe I'll switch off the video and maybe that will
Okay.
help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so we are
I
how
think
many people? We are 7 of us. So do you think we need a breakout room, or can we just start with the question and we
I
can
think
open
we
the
can just
discussion?
start right here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I think let's start with this question. Let's look at this question to say what are the ways in which, as individuals, each one of you live a environmentally conscious life. What are the ways in which, as individuals, you live an environmentally conscious life? So we would want each one of you to just think about it, maybe take a minute, and then state how you think you live an environmentally conscious life. Yeah. I'll also put the question, I've put it in the chat box. So as and when you're ready, you can share. And it'll be nice to open a discussion. Let's make it more interactive. And maybe when you talk, if we can see you, it would be really nice, as Adil was asking earlier. Divya, it'll be really nice if you talk and if we can see you, if that is possible. And then maybe we would want to know where you are from and what is it that you do. So we'll get to know each other a little better. Yes, Divya. Anything else? I know you wrote in the chat box.
You can
Anyone?
also share the like participants can also share in detail as to how did they land up on that action or how has that experience been after deciding. So we have a small intimate group today, and so we can really go deeper as well. I think we had designed for a larger group, but yeah, so would love to hear from everyone as to how they landed up on the decision to take an environmentally conscious action and how has that been.
Hi, my name is Uma Mampili. I guess you might relate to the fact that my husband works with Bhumi, or rather does volunteering with Bhumi. So he did the course in Bhumi a long time back, and that has kind of informed how we live our lives, and how it kind of influences on a very granular level, not in terms of huge decisions that we've made or something. Um, I can't claim to have done something like what Divya has done, which is really great, giving up on an AC and refrigerator and things, which we are very far off from that point. Um, but yeah, I'd just like to say that I also saw this movie, Earthlings, right, many years back, and that also informed me in a big way because um, there are small things that we can do, like not buying silk, for instance, or avoiding leather, and those are kind of probably touch points with what you're talking about, not exactly what you were asking, but that's the kind of influence that I like to think about. But being, very tied to the corporate world, I think I've not done a good job really imbibing what Bhumi was teaching us and, has been teaching us. And hopefully when I retire, I'd be doing more of that. This is always aspirational and in the future. But yeah, that's the space I'm in. For instance, like if I stop using an AC at home and in the office, it's like completely an air conditioned environment, it doesn't work, right? So we are kind of too acclimatized to using an AC, things like that. So I think when we try to straddle these worlds, it's inevitable that we would be on the if not the middle path, probably the paths that we are more into. So that's kind of a difference that I'm seeing between Pipson and me, because he has been into minimalism in a big way. I've not been there. I'm kind of catching up, trying to reach him. So so probably you're a little disappointed with my response because I've not really done much in sustainability or reached anywhere.
No, I don't think it is about being disappointed. I think each one of us have our own journeys, and we take our own time to reach where we have to.
Right, right.
And there is always a right time for each one of us. It may not all come together.
That's
So
true.
I don't think we have to be apologetic about it or we have to feel bad about it. Wherever we are, if we become conscious and if we are trying to do something, I think that's all we need to do.
Thank you.
So that's my take on it. I don't know what Adil has to say or what Divya has to say. We'd love to hear from the others also. Thank you, Uma.
I can continue the nice discussion Uma started. So, for me, how did I get into ecological way of living is I just remember my childhood when everything was, well, not to paint so nice picture about old days, but still there was a lot of open space, and we didn't see so much plastic everywhere as we see right now. And I don't know how much trouble plastic causes to the world. They do say a lot of things, but just the sight of it everywhere is already irritating enough for a start, even without knowing the scientific reasons behind it or what it does. It's just too much of plastic every day, and that is one thing that I consciously try and do. Whatever is sold in plastic, I try not to buy it. In the groceries, I buy only things that are not packed in plastic. So, in a place that I live, everything is packed in plastic. So, my choices get really narrowed down because I do this, but I'm fine with it because I don't want to keep buying so much plastic for whatever reason. Um, Apart from that, I just feel like I remember eating a mango as a kid and how very nice it used to taste. And now I have to go in search of a mango that can taste like that. Yeah. And that's when I start looking at why aren't fruits tasting as good as they did earlier, or why aren't the vegetables tasting as good as they did earlier. And that's where I realize, okay, the whole supply chain, the whole way how we are consuming vegetables today, that makes all this difference. And yeah, so I start trying to grow a few of the vegetables that I can and buy anything that's not in plastic covers. And I gave up refrigerator a year ago just to make sure that I don't want to keep storing things. I don't want to have that mindset that I have a fridge, so I can do anything. Now I know I don't have a fridge. I have to be careful. I have to be, planned. Every day I have to think about my groceries and stuff. But I also understand I live by myself, so my needs are lesser. But when it comes to a family, then probably their needs are greater, and maybe they are not able to do that much. So I also understand the situation of others. Um, yeah, these are some things that I do from my end.
Thank you, Divya.
Hi, this is Dolly. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So sorry, I had to put it in chat because I think I didn't enable my mic back then. So I just had to. So my journey, I think it started as a young person, right? But when we're a little dependent on parents, it was hard to execute few stuff. So one thing what I decided as a like as I was into my college days was to give up AC, right? It was a big, it was then coming up, right? Like suddenly everybody were buying AC, but we also know that is also a reason why the climate is becoming a little more hotter nowadays, right? So we are not doing. I mean, that was a thinking process at that point of time, and that is how I started to say no to AC. But as somebody pointed out, it's inevitable in the way of like when I'm going to office, it is there. I can't influence there, but what I can influence is in my family, right? But even here I can see my mom who's like 70 plus is struggling without an AC because we've brought climate to that stage with at an old age it's hard for them to uh, feel the heat way it is currently, so she's still having a AC at her place, right? But what I decided was at least when I become independent and uh, when I live, I would try to avoid that from my end at least, right? And when I was through that journey, like 8 months back, it suddenly struck me the same as the effect with refrigerator. I live with a friend and I asked her, can we try to do away with a refrigerator? Do you think it is possible? Because we spent a lot of money selecting the refrigerators and all that because it was a part of our life since our childhood, right? And suddenly thinking that friend, we weren't sure whether it's going to work for us. So what we did was we had the refrigerator at home, but we started to live without using it for 3 months, right? It's there as a just to try it out, right? Because we didn't know whether it's going to work. So we started 3 months trying not to use it as much as possible, and then we realized that we can do it, right? It is possible. It's two of us, and it was possible. It's about managing your groceries and planning ahead, because that is what today it's the time to plan for the week or for the next 3 days is what was a challenge initially. So once we were able to plan and then buy grocery and use it, we also saw the reduction in our waste when we do that, right? We only buy what we want, and then the waste is minimized that way. And we also ended up eating fresh foods and not, it's not bad to have refrigerated foods, but we also notice that we are at the end of the day having fresh cooked meals. We cook our food, we eat right then, right there. We cook only what we want, and so we don't end up consuming more as well. uh, Initially we did end up consuming more, to be honest, because we didn't know how to manage that extras that we used to store in the refrigerator, right? And then as and when it's a journey, and still we are learning in the journey. And to be honest, like my mom is going to visit us like in 2 days, and it is going to be a shock for her because we didn't tell her. So I'm waiting for to see how she's going to react to that. That's been the journey so far for me.
Maybe I can go next.
Yes, Sheetal, please go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so sorry I'm not able to switch on my video. I'm a little bit under the weather and not in a good shape.
That's fine. That's
Oh,
That's fine.
yeah.
That's fine.
And I'm so sorry about my voice being a little nasal.
that's
Please
okay.
bear with
That's
it.
okay.
Yeah.
You could
So,
apologize. That's all right.
yeah, my journey has started with very small steps because my work career has also always been working with organizations which are doing research in environment and ecology and conservation and all that. So there is always being economist trying to fit in these environmental research group and trying to see that how both of these can be married together. Like, economists always think about optimization, always think about maximization, and environmentalists always think about conservation and how to save the planet, right? So it has been that kind of a journey, saying that, how small steps can actually make a lot of difference to being environmental friendly or environmentally conscious. So the steps like stop using plastic, as even Divya was telling, like whatever you buy, groceries, fruits, everything, buy it in an open market where you can actually get things like, you get to choose things and buy it like that. That is one thing. Second thing is about water usage. How to actually think about what could be like, how can you at a household level start thinking about reusing water? Like we have not been using RO for filtration of our water, so there is no much of a water which is coming out from the RO system, which is a big thing. But when we were living with my in-laws, there was a RO, and then we used to use that water for either cleaning our floor or sometimes also washing our clothes with that uh, and those kind of things. And also being little conscious about when we wash our vegetables and fruits, that water we just don't throw it, we can use it for plants. Also, like not use floor cleaners which are available in market, which are very harmful for the environment when we flush it down the toilet. And the detergents, right? Detergents, the dishwashers, and the floor cleaners. So if we give up those, there is a lot of benefit that we are actually doing to water bodies and also to our soil. So those are the things that we are trying to keep at least as small as possible. Use of AC, we never did it at home, but also this is what is the cost that we pay, because we go to offices and there is a centralized AC, and this is what happens, what has happened to me. Like, you keep getting kind of a viral, because in office it's a very closed environment. It is AC. If one virus travels to everybody in a very short time.
Yeah.
And we are actually not using it at home, so we are kind of not acclimatized to that switching. The body has not acclimatized to switching between the extreme temperatures in office and home, but there is no way that we can actually do anything. Uh, in offices, we try, I mean, like, try to be a little kind of a preachy, but it doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah, these are the small steps.
Think Sunil just joined us. Sunil, with this sharing, what are some of the environmentally conscious, environmentally friendly actions that we might be doing in our daily life? So if you're here and you're able to share that, it would be great. And anybody else, Kavita, Divya, Alex, who hasn't shared, if they would like to share, yeah, we still have time.
Hello. Hi. Am I audible?
Yes, Kavita,
Yes,
you're
you are,
audible.
Kavita. Go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, my journey started when I got pain in my left abdomen, and I was not able to consume plain flour like maida and refined sugar. So slowly, I started consuming crystal palm jaggery and healthy food, which is not junk and which is pure organic. And I started using traditional cookwares I used to clean them with Rita powder and I mean soap nuts and lemon. And then I started slowly avoiding plastic as much as I can. I started using cold pressed oil and Bellona ghee, and I got connected with Parvati Nagarajan ma'am, which is I started learning herbs from herbal knowledge, and because of her, I got much connected with nature, and she only informed me about this session. So I want to learn more, and I want to live like eco-friendly. I want to use everything which is eco-friendly. So this is how I started my journey. This is all I want to say. Hello.
Thank you, Kavita. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Kavita.
Yeah. And one thing more, I stopped using allopathic medicines. Earlier, I used to take lots of antibiotic and all, and now I'm feeling better. And which is a good, I got good result from like natural food and herbs. So I'm looking forward for this changing my life and learning more. Yeah, that's it.
Sunil or Karaya, would you like to share? You can also put it in
Adil, come in front.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sunil or Bhavkaraya, if you'd like to go ahead and share, you can do that. Or you can just put it in chat as well. Maybe then we can move ahead with the next thing. Am I audible, Ishita? Or should I stop my video?
No, you come in front, then you're audible. Yeah. If you're close, we can hear you.
All right, all right. Okay, okay, okay. Am I audible? Is that good? All right. Okay. So maybe we'll continue this discussion. I think I would love to know from all of you what are some of the products or the advertisements that you see for products or the products that you see on shelves that have eco-friendly or environmentally friendly written on it. Like green, eco-friendly, environmentally friendly. What are some of the products that you've seen, some of the ads maybe that you've seen for these products, or some of the people who are talking about it? Would be great to get responses. No one has come across any product with the word eco-friendly, environmentally friendly written on them. Wow, capitalist. Couldn't hear the question. Ishita ji, were you able to hear the question?
Not very clear, Adil. आप आगे आ जाएं थोड़ा सा.
No, I'm practically kissing the laptop.
Do you want to come here and sit with me?
No,
Okay, Akshay Kalpa is what Uma says.
basically, yeah, can you write down that question, Ishita ji, just in the chat box?
So what did you say? What are the products?
What are some of the products, some of the ads that you see of companies that are sharing some of these words, eco-friendly, environmentally friendly?
Probably like a shampoo bar or a soap bar. So some of them are coming. So many of them are making now. Those
Shampoo
are
bar,
labeled as
soap
eco-friendly.
bar. Right.
Okay. What else? Ads.
Uma has written Akshay Kalpa.
Akshay
These are
Kalpa.
all very Yeah, these are all very from the quote unquote non-mainstream sector. I'm very happy to see these answers, but anything from the mainstream that any products that you see, maybe newspapers are not so common these days, online ads maybe that you've seen, bamboo toothbrush and combs.
If I'm allowed a joke, to
Of course,
be
you're allowed to do.
environmentally friendly, I stopped watching the TV. For my own
Ads,
environment, it was very friendly not to watch the TV. So I don't see any ads, so I have no idea which ads are, professing what.
that's brilliant actually. So now we come to the second question, like that I have. Ishita ji, a thumbs up if you can hear me. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Great. So the second question is then why do you think this session is not titled environmentally friendly living in urban areas? Why is it not been titled eco-friendly living in urban areas? Why is it being titled the way that it has been titled? Any guesses? Anyone wants to venture a guess? Why is the title of this webinar not eco-friendly living in cities or eco-friendly, environmentally friendly living in urban areas?
Probably everybody's idea of eco-friendly is different, I guess. But still we have to think about living with the environment and in the environment, I think. So it's
Absolutely. No, go ahead, Sunil.
maybe I didn't think it through, but something just came to my mind and just said it.
No, there is definitely a valid point that you make, that what eco-friendly means or what environmentally friendly means, in some ways, what started out as scientists, researcher, activists using it has been slowly co-opted by the MNCs, the multinational companies, the global companies. And so what has become of environmental friendly, the phrase environmental friendly or eco-friendly, is really product based. Is that buy a product and then you've done your bit, eco-friendly or environmental friendly, right? And some of this is what is called greenwashing. When a lot of companies, what they do is not Akshay Kalpa and not probably the other initiatives and collectives who are doing it, but the mainstream companies with billion-dollar conglomerates, what they have done is they've sort of taken these phrases into designing their posters, designing their materials, designing their ads, and what we have been left with is a reduced version of the meaning of actually eco-friendly and environmentally friendly. So what at Bhumi, what we're trying to do is trying to go one step deeper, because that has been co-opted. Those phrases have been co-opted. What we are looking at is ecologically wise. What would be ecologically wise? And what would be ecologically wise is not looking at one product or the act of consumption as the only act that we can do. That is definitely one of the things that we can do. A lot of you spoke about it: reducing, refusing, reusing. Those are all very, very noble acts, and they have to be done. But what is it that we need to do when we go one step um, deeper? Is how do we sort of act in a way that the entire ecology can rejuvenate, can replenish, and it can be healthy. So, how do we think in terms of ecology, which works really in cycles and in flow, which is a little different than consumption, which is much more of a linear act? right? So that's what we will look into as we go ahead. But I think I just want to take maybe 10-15 minutes to get into this greenwashing, because this is something which is very important and which happens a lot around us. And sometimes we may not even know whether it's happening or not. So I'll just quickly share a PPT maybe. Can everybody see this? Great, great. So this
Yes.
is Nestle company's product. It didn't come to India, but it was there abroad. It's called Pure Life Water, in which they package plastic water and sell it. Nestle has a horrible history of taking community-owned water bodies, rivers, and then pretty much selling these communities water back in package form. You can go and read about it from Africa to even in India. This has happened. So now what happens is a company can claim this this bottle as being environmentally friendly. In fact, it did that as well. So what it can do is say that, we're using 15% less plastic, and hence that makes this product environmentally friendly. So the only part which is true about this is environmentally little friendlier than maybe the plastic bottle that they had before. But this bottle is not really environmentally friendly. Um, Anyone wants to take a guess as to why this bottle is not environmentally friendly, or any mostly plastic bottles that we are using, especially the ones which are for packaged drinking water, why are they not environmentally friendly? There's a different case that you can make for why they are not even healthy for you as an individual. But anyone, even if recycle is written on it, anyone wants to quickly make a case? Maybe some of us already know. Somebody has put it on chat. Is it? Yes, so these are not environmentally friendly because, and we will get to it. Um, can you see the slide?
Yes.
Yes. So a company, when it claims that we are using 15% less plastic in making a bottle and calling it eco-friendly or environmentally friendly, does not go to the core of the problem, that the plastic bottle itself is almost unrecyclable. It doesn't matter if you use 10% less, 15% less, 20% less. The problem is that 90% of the plastic, 90% of the plastic goes unrecycled. Right? So these are the headings that you won't see. Right? When you pick up a bottle, you might see a nice green sign saying recycle this or throw it away consciously. But this is the actual reality. Why is most plastic not recycled? Because it can't be recycled. 90% of the plastic, because the way these bottles are made is so complicated that they don't just have one kind of plastic. They have multiple kinds of plastics in them. Separating them itself is such an energy intensive activity that it wouldn't even make sense to do. Not even economically, not even environmentally. You would have to put so much energy in that the entire act itself would be energy intensive. Right? And this is some research that you can do on your own. And it is only getting worse. So what happens is when companies like Nestle co-opt the larger thing by saying, hey, look, use our bottle and put green around it and say that that is environmentally friendly, that is something that we need to sort of be conscious of. It's not only the consciousness that of what we are using, but what are some of these things that we are using? Where do they end up in natural ecology? Whether they are 15% less plastic or 10% less plastic, what is the end game for it? What does it happen? Where do they land up? And like the image that we saw, most of them land up in landfills. Most of them end up leaching, which means that they give out chemicals into the soil, into the water, making the soil and the water both toxic. And this is the reality. So the basic core of a plastic bottle is so unenvironmentally friendly that there is no point choosing a more environmentally friendly plastic bottle, right? And that's the thing that Nestle has been doing, right? So what Nestle is able to do is come up with actions like that. Say that we have made a bottle which is 15% less plastic use, and then they project themselves as being sustainable. And this happens over, if you can look at not just Nestle, Coca-Cola, pick any big company that you want, and it becomes a part of their PR campaign, right? And so not everything out there in the larger market is so innocent that every act of a company is not very innocent out there, right? And so it becomes a PR campaign. A lot of the eco-friendly, environmentally friendly ads that you see end up become greenwashing. So we come back again to this bottle, right? So it's got green. They know how to project it. How would you see that it is greenwashing? You see that the image in the back is green, so they'll always use a color that tells you that, hey, it's eco. They will say that we can all make a difference. Of course, we can all make a difference, but Nestle can make a difference by stopping to produce these bottles, right? So what they do is they equalize, saying all of us have a responsibility. Of course, we do. We have a responsibility of not using the bottle. We have a responsibility of calling out Nestle when they do take community water and then use it to package. We have that responsibility. So our responsibilities are not equal. Their responsibility is as a producer to be more conscious. Our responsibility is not only as a consumer, but also as a citizen. What do we do when common properties like lakes, water bodies, and other common ecological resources are being misused, right? So what do? They use fluffy language, 15% less plastic, or eco-shape bottle. What does eco-shape bottle mean? It doesn't mean anything. There is no eco-shape bottle. It has no meaning as such, right? And like I said, showed you, Nestle has the reputation of being a dirty company, right? So when we do look at some of these ads, we do have to say, who is coming up with this ad? Why are they using the kind of language that they use? Is it really ecologically friendly? Is the product itself at its core ecologically friendly? But the problem is, this is not so easy to do. And the reason why it's not easy to figure out, for that you need to understand a little bit of psychology. Anybody can recognize this man on the left? We should. We may not be able to, but we should. I'm sorry, somebody spoke up.
No, I don't recognize him.
This man is Edward Bernays, considered the father of modern marketing and PR, right? He was connected to Sigmund Freud. He used some of those principles and philosophies that Freud was using and brought them into the market economy. And this is detailed in a documentary called The Century of Self. It says that how marketing, how imagery, how words used in a certain way, how colors used in a certain way impact our mind, our subconscious mind, that we are not even aware of. Right? So this is something that we would highly recommend that you watch, because at Bhumi, whenever we have the fellowship or any program, we highly recommend this documentary series. It's made by Adam Curtis, Century of Self. You can find it on YouTube. The problem is that a lot of the imagery that we are shown in advertisements uh, focuses on our subconscious mind. So even if consciously we might look at it and say, you know what, I'm never going to buy this thing, or I'm going to call out, it is really difficult to look at an ad and actually say that, and maybe this is wrong. Because think about it, if you have seen some Bisleri bottles out there, you would have seen some counterfeit Bisleri bottles also out there. And unless you pay real attention to it, you might even be fooled, right? And it happens so many times. A lot of the online scams that happen, bank scams, where somebody takes money from you or logs into your account, Facebook account, take this into account, that we always don't pay attention, full attention to imagery, and our mind actually does something called fast thinking. Something which one of the Nobel Prize winning economist, Daniel Kahneman, writes about in his book, Slow Thinking, Fast Thinking. That a lot of us, when we see images, we do fast thinking. We don't take time to take in every detail, because that takes a lot of energy. And that's another book or another research that you can look into, which is slow thinking and fast thinking, and how much of our thinking is in fast thinking. And Daniel Kahneman says that maybe 90% or more than that is us doing fast thinking. And so a lot of the marketing uses that, and a lot of the scammers use that, right? So this is why we need to not only just be aware of what are the things that we are using or what are the products that we consume, but we also need to be aware of who are the people who are selling us these products. What is their agenda? Can we trust them always? Maybe not. So with that, I think I would like to stop here, and maybe if some of you have perspectives that you would like to share, some of you have any questions, some of you have any um, similar things that you've noticed, you can share that. But I think we thought it would be good to look at greenwashing as first steps, because there's an entire market economy looking to just fool us into buying things which are supposedly eco-friendly. Any thought, perspective, anything that didn't sit well, anything that was too close for comfort, anything. We accept all kinds of perspectives.
I think any comments, any connections, or anything that you do not agree with would also be a good take-off point for a discussion. Yes.
Yeah, I have maybe like a thought that usually cross my mind. we talk about plastic, we talk about materials. So, I mean, I could be wrong as well. My observation is anything that is used at mass will eventually harm us back. Like, for example, even if we talk about some sustainable material like alternative material like cotton, bamboo, for that matter, um, if you use it extensively and at mass, that could also create a problem. I mean, I definitely don't agree with obviously usage of plastic. I myself um, have been trying to live a alternative life wherein we'll reduce as much as possible. But I feel like at one point of time when you look at um, like people in urban spaces, we definitely talk about these materials as an alternative materials, but what do you think would, I mean, it's just an opinion. I don't think there's a right and wrong. I just wanted to, mention this point.
No, Kunzang, I think you make a very valid point, and that maybe is not shown here, but you guys can research on that. That if 90% of plastic is not recycled, 80% of textile lands up in landfill. So textile cloth is not very far behind in terms of wastage, right? So 80% of the clothes, in fact, it's a huge deal. The clothes that in the world especially are just going into landfills. So it's not as if using a cloth bag always is better than using maybe a plastic bag. But the case that you can make is if you reuse, again, like you said, if we mass produce cloth bags in the way to be used as single-use bags, then definitely that's not a sustainable, ecologically wise solution. It again is a market economy solution where they ask us to buy as many cloth bags as plastic bags. The only way that cloth bags could be environmentally, ecologically wise is if they are reused for a long time, for a long period. But yeah, I think it would be very good to look at some of the wastage in textile and look at the pollution what textile industry causes and how much of our textile is just landing up in landfills. I think that is an amazing thing to also look at. But you're right. Generally, people focus on plastic, but yeah.
Yeah, and also because I wrote an article about how concrete cements and in like around the world, cement industries, actually concrete industry is $1 billion industry, and concrete is more harmful for environment than plastic. But just because it does not end up in water, landfills, we don't like cement is not as highlighted as plastic as well. Like that's another thing that in urban space we need to consider, like in terms of natural building than concrete building, I think.
So I'll just share a thought for the sake of discussion. That the Kuzang brought up a great point, and like Adil said, it's about reusability. So I think our choices are also determined by our education and sustainability. So somebody who's not had any education would look at that ad and say, "Oh, that's a great thing. I can contribute to the ecology and buy this bottle." But if you're more educated on sustainability, you might say that okay, let me carry a earthen bottle, and that should be my way of contributing. But when we step back a little further, I think when we think minimalism, it's like, do I even need that bottle? That's that's one way of looking at it. So I think this is where the education and understanding of sustainability from the grassroots makes all the difference. And when we don't have that, we make the bad kind of choices.
Yeah, I quite agree with you. The other thing I think is it's all about convenience today for each one of us. I think we've gotten so used to the conveniences of living in a certain way that we cannot do without. Because I heard a lot of you saying, I've given up on the AC, I've given up on a fridge. But on a regular day to day, we've become so used to it for so many years, and it's a convenience, right? Are we willing to give up on that convenience and say, like how somebody said, that if I have no fridge, I, for each of my meals, I have to prep for food, or I have to think what I have to eat. So am I willing to look at that larger, and from there, what are the other connections that you make? So I think for me, that becomes a day to day. Am I willing to spend that much of time, energy? Because if I'm working, say a 9 to 5 job, or a 9 to 6, or a 9 to 7 job, once I come back home, I want certain conveniences. So it goes back to your lifestyle, and then how it affects everything else that you are part of. I think for me, that connection, once I start making, maybe I will make shifts at the, like what we call the root level, and not only look at the branch level issues and take the problem there.
It's also the purchasing power today. People buy at ease, right? Whether not thinking twice, they actually need it. That we keep accumulating stuff that we actually don't need. When I start to think, look at my house, there are n number of items that I actually don't use at all sometimes, right? It's just sitting there collecting dust. So I think that is one thing that's changed a lot recently with the purchasing power. People are just buying, and that's when the uh, consumption is coming, right? Where without any usage, and the corporates also want that, right? They want us to buy more, even whether we have a need or not, and they are being successful at it by using all the psychological techniques that has been shown in the advertisements, and that we end up buying them like in a jiffy without giving it. And also in this instant world, right? I think in one of the previous calls somebody told that we are in an instant life, right? We want everything instantaneously, like right now, right here, and all that. But with all this time that we think that we are saving, what are we actually achieving? Are we really having the time for our family? Are we actually spending the time with and for the family? I don't think so. I see a lot of people spending that time more at work today. The corporates are saving our, uh, like giving their products, saving our time, and using their time for themselves actually. We still struggle to spend the time with our children, our pets, our families, even cooking for ourselves. We are not spending that time today, right? Making our own meal and enjoying that with the families, absolutely missing today. And we are still struggling with all the advancement in the technology to spend that happy meal with the family. So yeah, that's my thought process on this. Yeah.
So even to change all this, we need some kind of marketing, right? So it should be an ethical marketing where we, I mean, when we talk about education, it is also kind of like marketing, like telling people what is the right thing to do or how to go to the root causes, or uh, so should we think it like that?
Sunil, can you come again, please?
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
I missed what you said. Can you just repeat, please?
So I'm saying whatever is happening is not very good. But to change that, again, we talked about education, educating people, going to the root causes. So that also needs some marketing again, but it would be, and we should do some kind of ethical marketing, like to reach to the people that there are these kind of other ways of living, other kind of education systems, or again, would it become, there was again somebody talked about, like even the eco-friendly things are not really eco-friendly if they're mass produced. So we need an ethical marketing now, is or
I think there are different ways to think about it. I think marketing, what it does is primarily focuses on broadcasting. Can I have one message and can I send it to billions of people? Right? So that's the way marketing of company works. What at Bhumi, what we're trying to, I think, look at is that ecosystems are different. They are contextual. So the education itself that we have to give ourselves before we give others, the education that we need to have ourselves, maybe about what is the ecology, what is the environment that we are in, we live in, what is right for that, what would be right for that. So contextual education, and not looking at a single answer for any of these things. So maybe in some places, um, having plastic for packaging may be the right thing. Maybe we can think of context in which, let's say, when a disaster happens, when there's a flood, when there are natural disasters and food needs to be sent out to people who are in distress. Of course, then maybe plastic packaging or something which works may be a band-aid solution. But do we sort of need that 365 days in a year in places where you could easily find alternative ways of doing it, or which we have been doing for thousands of years? Probably not. So I think, like Ishita was talking about, looking at some of the root level problems that we have. Why do we want to consume so much? Like in America, they, for hundreds of years, they've been 100 years at least, they've been consuming toilet. They use tissue paper, right? So tissue paper. So instead of questioning why do we use tissue paper, the American market economy says, hey, we have come up with recycled tissue paper, right? So now that nobody tells you, like I said before, what is that process of recycling? How much energy goes into recycling something? What are all the things that goes into recycling? What is the energy output of that? What is the kind of pollution that recycling is causing? Because recycling is not a God sent pious activity which is happening from the heavens. Recycling is not this, vague thing which is just always positive. Recycle kar denge, we will recycle it, right? It's an actual mechanical scientific process in which you have to use machines and in which you have to put in energy and something comes out. So this is the thing, like, can the answer be have a recyclable tissue paper? Or is the question to look at is, why do we need tissue paper? Right? And the same is with water in the West. Packaged drinking water is like tissue paper in the West. Like, it has to be used, right? So how did we land up there, where having water from the tap is not good or is not good for you? Who is sending out that messaging, right? So really looking at perspectives that have shaped our perspectives that shape our narratives, that almost become naturalized, right? And in the West, they've become too naturalized. In India, we are sort of going in that direction. So it's to really look at why do we need to consume many of the things that we actually consume in the first place, right? And what are then some systemic, ecologically wise actions that we can take so that the entire ecology can benefit from, which is not about what can I as an element of the ecosystem do, what can a lot of us do, what can be some of these community acts that we can do. So really ecologically wise living is really about understanding that we are part of a larger ecology and that we need to work and we are interdependent on them. We are all interconnected. How can we work with these elements to make the ecology more sustainable?
Okay, so is there any other thing that we need to look at? I think I'll just say one thing. I think very often nowadays, as people living in urban spaces, especially, we live in silos. Like most of us live in apartment buildings, which are high rise, and very often we don't even connect with our next door neighbor. Sometimes we know them, sometimes we don't. So what I'm coming to is that that whole thing of communities coming together, which would enable a lot of things earlier, like you influence each other. So like somebody said, maybe the corporates run our lives and it is not where I live and what I do and what is happening there that really fires me, or I take decisions based on that. So it is something outside of my immediate or environment or the ecosystem that I'm a part of seems to be driving a lot of things. So I think more and more, if I start connecting with things in and around me, maybe a lot of shifts can be possible. It might happen. So I think one of the things I would like to share quickly, I'll do a screen share. So we just put together some images from this ecosystem, which Adil and I are part of, and some of us have been here for a while now. So what is it that we have looked at? And what are the interconnections? I think for me, if I'm able to see the interconnections, maybe then I will see that, okay, do I actually need this? Then maybe I'm able to ask myself that. Yeah. So Adil, is it okay if I screen share?
Yes, Ishita, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ishita.
Yeah. So can you all see?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So this is an aerial shot of the Bhumi Prakriya space that we are a part of. And I think when many years back, I think in the late 90s, when this place was taken, it was full of eucalyptus trees and tall grass. And there was nothing growing here. The soil was really bad when we got this place. I remember Sita coming and telling us that we've got this space and finally we will move there. That time we were in Koramangala, and it was all eucalyptus trees. And as we all know, eucalyptus tree takes up a lot of water, groundwater. It just takes it in and the water table goes down and nothing else can grow on the land when there are eucalyptus groves, because the leaves are so acidic and it keeps shedding leaves, and when it falls on the ground and the soil just becomes not possible for you to grow anything there. So I think one of the first things that was done to this land was that all the trees were taken out. I'm sorry, all the trees were taken out, and we started looking at soil health because we did want to grow, and we wanted to create a green cover, because that is one of the things that we thought is needed for people who would be part of this ecosystem where we were setting up the school. Of course, Bhumi College and Network came a little later. That was after the school was set up. The school building started here around, I think the year 2000, around the year 99, 2000. That is when we started building here. And the green cover, if you look at it, it's almost like at this point in time, we have more than maybe 108 species of trees. We have birds and butterflies. So we have a thriving biodiverse, it's like a biodiverse area, which has so many birds, so many butterflies, and a lot of other things. So that is one of the things that we had looked at. So the green cover, and I think most often I have heard a lot of people say when they walk in here that they feel a sense of settle or calm, and that is what we wanted the children to feel, especially because we were setting up a school at that point in time. Then we do have an organic garden. Any of you who know about Bhumi would know. So this is the area just next to the solar panels that you see. So we have the organic garden there, and we really wanted the soil health to come back. So we started working on that. So because of that, we have cows, which we have here on campus, and we make our own Jivamrita and the things that we use for the garden to look at soil health. So that is something that we've done. Then another thing that we really wanted to look at is one of the thumb rules. I think that is what our founder Sita keeps talking about. That one of the thumb rules is that none of the buildings that we have done here are taller than the tallest trees. That is one thumb rule which we have kept over the years. Now we've been on campus. I think we came here at in 2001, we shifted to this campus, which is the Prakriya Bhumi campus currently where we are. Then, of course, when the buildings came up, we also said we would love to have spaces indoors and outdoors, because we as human beings, I think now we've gotten so used to, like, even this session that we are having, we are sitting in front of a computer and talking to people, and not on a regular, like sitting one-on-one or even in a group and having a conversation, which is something that I as a person find very difficult to do. So that is another thing that we said, that we will have these inner and outer spaces where people would be able to come together, sit around, have conversations, give and take information, share of each other. So that is another thing that we had done here. Then the other thing we had looked at, I think somebody talked about building. We were very conscious when we were putting up buildings here that we source material which is from in and around this locality. So we haven't really gone very far to get all the things that we have used, the stones that we have used, or the blocks that we have used here are all sourced absolutely locally. Then there are certain other buildings that have come up here, which are earthwork constructions. So we have tried to use Ramda earth construction here, which is Vasundhara. If some of you have visited here, that is actually our dining space in Bhumi. And that is built with earthwork construction. And a lot of us actually helped when the building was coming up. A lot of the students from school came and helped. A lot of volunteers from outside came and helped. So it was a community effort to put up this particular building. Then we have the other buildings, at least in the Bhumi side, where we have used stabilized mud blocks. So a lot of the mud which is taken out from the foundation, we have used that to create the bricks. And these are not fired and they are made on campus. So they don't travel from anywhere. They are not fired in the kiln. They are just stabilized. So there is a machine which helps you make these, and then they are kept and cured, and then that is used. And the usage of cement becomes almost less than 1/4, because we use the mud, we use some quarry dust which is taken, and the rest is cement, which is less than 1/4 for a particular brick. So that is another thing that we have kept in mind. Then the other thing is we are almost 90% on solar power. So we have used panels. On all our buildings, you would find solar panels, which we have used to look at the power. We are not off the grid. We do have some bit of Westcom power, but we kind of 90% we manage our power within. Then somebody actually talked about the Rita powder that we use here, because we recycle a lot of the water, and a lot of the water is recycled from all the washing from the kitchen, because here we do run a kitchen which feeds about 700 to 800 people a day when the school's running and the college is running. And we use Rita powder and we use chemical free washing powder. That is another thing. Then we have this phytorid plants that we use to recycle some of the water that comes out from the kitchen and it goes into our garden. So we keep reminding people, like we have a hostel here where sometimes we have people staying over. So we say, please use chemical free soaps, please use hand wash, which is chemical free. That is what we do on campus here, so that the water can be recycled and it goes through these phytorid plants, which actually makes it good enough for it to go into the garden. Because from the garden, we take the vegetables and it keeps going back to our kitchen. So even the children, even any adult who is part of this ecosystem, who is being here, will be looking at all these things. And the last one is, this is, I've kind of tried to put all these together. So we are a low waste campus. So we are very conscious of how much of waste we generate. And most of the waste, that is the vegetable waste from the kitchen, goes into making compost, or we have cows. From there, we make our Jivamrita and all those things. We are on solar panel. The food that is eaten here is all prepared here. We try and not get too much of things. We are not self-sufficient, but we try and get most of the things from here, but we do buy from outside. We have an organic garden. We are trying to conserve energy. So we do not have any ACs. I think some of you said you've given up on AC. So the buildings were created such that we have enough light. For example, right at this point in time, I just have one light on, which I needn't have because it was not very sunny when we started. So I had switched on the light. And it's really airy and sunny. So most of our rooms do not need any electricity during the day. Maybe during the night we do use some, but we are on solar, and that is how this ecosystem is managed. Yes, Adil, you want to add anything?
Yeah, even the food that is bought from outside is bought from the local fruit and vegetable market, which is
Yes.
not more than 6 kilometers away from here. Yes, I think, and something about the design principle of the tallest building not being taller than the tallest tree. My own experience has been then the attention goes actually to the trees when you sort of have been in this campus for almost a decade. It makes it so much more easier to pay attention to the trees, to the plants, when the buildings are not overpowering the landscape. So I think from my own experience, I would say that that's a design principle that really works.
Yes, Adil, should I go to the next one?
Yes, Ishita, please go.
Yeah, yeah. I'll screen share again. I'll run you through quickly about our next upcoming thing, which is ecological urban living. This was just a quick kind of a intro to that. So we are coming up with sessions. So there are modules which we are going to offer from January. The first one will be self, land and community, then education for sustainability and ecological urban living. So ecological urban living, the topics we are going to take up are localization for people, place, and the planet. That is on 16th March. These are all weekend sessions, which is going to happen online. So if any of you would be interested, you can let us know. Insanity of global trade, that is 17th March. Then case for regenerative cities, that is 23rd March. Owning our commons, 24th March. Being waste wise, that is 30th March. And experiences of localization is 31st March. So these are the dates. We can send you details again if any of you are interested in joining us for these sessions. Ecological urban living. So the dates are the boot camp that is going to happen in person at the campus. The dates for that are 19th to 23rd April. And it's a residential program that we are offering. So the program fees for the 6 online sessions would be 4,500 plus the boot camp, which is a 5-day, that is 7,000. And if anybody doesn't want to come for the boot camp and would only like to attend the online sessions, the program fees would be 6,000. So these are the dates at a glance. We start March 16, 17, Saturday, Sunday, 23rd, 24th, 31st, 30th, 31st, then 19th to 23rd. Thank you. If you have any questions, any queries, you can either ask us now or you can write to us at bhumicollege@gmail.com.
I think Dolly had a question.
Yeah.
Last session on this is combined in these sessions as the dates and topics are same. Yes, so localization, let us localize, and ecological urban living are combined. They're offered together as a module. Yes, because we feel both are sort of very deeply connected.
Yes, so I think we are kind of done. So if there are any questions, we can take those. Or anyone is with any thought, anything to share? Yes, Dolly.
No, I just wanted to check, what can you walk into the college campus and talk to someone, and do you have any timings for that?
It would be nice if you take an appointment with one of
Yeah.
us. We can have a conversation with you, but it'll be nice if you write to us.
Okay.
Yeah, because we'll be doing something or the other. Then
Understood.
we may not be able to chat with you.
Got
Or
it.
the other thing is we do hold a farmers market every first and third Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody or the other usually is available at that point in time from Bhumi. So if you come on those days, but it would be really nice if you tell us that I want to come and I'm coming. So can one of you be available to have a conversation with me? Yeah.
No, that's a nice thought. Can be there for the farmers market. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. In fact, we are having one today.
Yeah,
And
right now
again,
it's happening
yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
okay. All right. Thanks for that.
So any other questions? Or any thought, anything?
Just wanted to ask about the farmers market today. How long is it open for?
It's there till 1 o'clock.
Okay.
There's also a zero waste organic store just adjacent or as you enter the campus. So that's open every day except Sunday,
Sunday.
or except on Sunday from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. So Bangaloreans can make it.
Yes. Maybe one word as we close. Any thought, any feeling, anything to do, anything.
I just want to say thanks, Ishita and Adil. It was a very inspiring session. I like to listen to this kind of information. Like it's part of my education for me, and it's really good to keep thinking about what all we can do differently. So thank you so much for the session.
Thanks, Uma.
Yeah, I would like to thank as well about the same. Uh, and so this is like an individual, like a short course, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and
It's like a
this
short course. Yeah, yeah.
Short
It's
module.
over a period of 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay.
Yeah. So it is Saturday, Sunday, both days. And
Oh,
it will
not
be
every
about
day.
2.5 hours, like how we had this. And then we are saying we'll have a boot camp where we can all meet up. That would be really nice.
Okay. The same topic, the same classes will be repeated again during the boot camp.
No, no, no. We will have
No, no.
something totally different. It will be more
Oh, okay.
hands-on, more experiential, because if it's a boot camp, we are all here physically present, right, on campus.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
The
we'll
boot
be
camp
doing
is a deep dive. Yeah, it's a deep dive into the topic in different ways, which
Right.
virtual session cannot really offer.
I think one of the things at Bhumi we feel is that when we meet person to person, there is a lot more that happens. We are okay doing an online session, but we would always want a physical session here at Bhumi so that you experience the place, you experience the people in and around you, and experientially take in a lot of things and make your connections through that.
Got it. Yeah.
Yes, Kavita, you wanted to say something?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the sessions. I have learned a lot and I will try my best to implement all these things in my day-to-day life. Thank you so much. Learned
Are
a
you
lot.
from Bangalore, Kavita? Sorry.
No, ma'am, I'm from Maharashtra,
Okay.
Jalgaon.
Okay. Okay. So all the best to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us on a Saturday morning. So hope to see you here sometimes, whenever you are in and around. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Tomorrow is our final webinar, Education for Sustainability. So if some of you are interested, you can join. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.